All right, we're back. We are back in front of the camera and we're in round two. Now, before this episode starts, I wanted to give a really special thank you always to my parents for being such amazing supporters and having my back on whatever adventure I choose to go on, whatever adventure I choose to start. I always feel that love and support. So thank you so much to my parents, Brian and Misha. I love you to death. And specifically for this episode too, I would like to give a special thank you to DK, Luke, and Sarah. The encouragement, the conversation that we had, which really prompted me making this video. This is for you, really. This is episode 2 of what I'm going to be calling Art Mirror. From everything that I've seen and what I continue to see in day-to-day life and in my art practice is that the way me specifically, but the way one navigates art, it mirrors or reflects upon the way that you navigate life. And I know that that might be kind of an extreme thing, but I don't think it's so short-sighted to say that the way you approach something and what you put into practice in a day-to-day, especially for artists who they consume art every day, which is really possible and easy via social media, and they produce art every day. It's always on your mind. So the way that you approach something day-to-day life is actually going to say a lot about what reflects onto the way that you're living. So I encourage anyone watching this video to exercise creativity, discipline, humility, gratitude, and make that experience as fun and fulfilling as possible. So in the background, I have a painting that I recently, digital painting. I was working on Clip Studio Paint that I was working on, and it was something that was a really, really large step for me. As you can see, kind of in the background, I do have some portraits which I presented at an art gallery, which were really, really special to me, really, really fun, building blocks and fundamental pieces that I love. So I've got them displayed there. But this is kind of the next step in that direction. And when you're taking these large steps, I'd say that people might begin to take notice. I always say it's an honor and a blessing that people pay any attention to you. We talk about attention being this really valuable currency. It's a blessing and an honor that people actually, might be invested in you as a person or emotionally in your work to actually pay attention to you. So when someone does notice your improvement and they validate that and they are willing to go out of their way to say how they connected with it or how they see you improving, that's no small thing. That's a really large honor. So when I do, for all the artists that are watching this, when someone goes out of their way to, give you the kudos and the shout out, and they take time out of their day to do that, just know that you're never entitled to that. That's always something that someone is actually going out of their way to show kindness to you in that aspect. So, really, really reciprocate that, and it will take you a long way. But I likely won't talk much about the piece in the background. You'll see, I might talk about some things because it was really, really exciting to work on, and I learned a ton during it. The piece is really special. The website that I'm working on is going to be going live soon. I'm going to talk about some things going on in the background about this piece there on like a written portion, and there might be more to come there, like more special things there. But there was one specific question that really prompted this video that I'm going to dial in on and hone in on. And that question is, what's the secret? Is there even a secret? And a friend of mine had asked me this question, and I was blown away. I was completely floored. When you're in a creative setting and someone asks, like, hey, what's the secret behind this? I'm saying, there's a secret? And if there is a secret, I have that secret? Like, me? You're kidding. Me? No way, no way. But really, it was in regards to kind of, at least what I'd summarize is asking, what's the secret in taking leaps and bounds throughout your art process? So we were having a conversation, and it was about like developing skills. developing skills, and talking about what happens when you have this really great piece of work and then afterwards you're and I do live for puns, I love words, so when you go back to the drawing board, major points for that, right? When you go back to the drawing board after you've done this really great work, where do you go next? It seems like what I'm doing after, it's not as exciting. It's not as, I'm not getting that rush out of it. I'm not super connected with it. And, I'm not speaking exactly for me personally because I don't necessarily experience this, but this is what I'm going to be talking about today. So there are a couple points I'd like to throw out there. There are a lot of names for this, right? There is, that you might be familiar with. There's the gap. There is the unhappy middle of drawing. There's the swamp. You could even call it the murky depths of the dark star of infinity of drawing. It could really be anything. So and I think as I said some of those words, some artists and even in any creative medium, writers especially, they'll actually know that feeling, right? But what I believe that to be is really just the learning process. So the way my mind works, it's going to sound a little strange, you're looking at a painting that I've done, but I wouldn't consider myself a truly creative person. Up until I was 23 years old, or I would say 22, about to turn 23, I had never done any art. I really didn't do much creative things. My mind was entirely analytical, very math, science oriented. But what I found is that really the learning process is the same. The way you have to learn things it's never going to be it's never going to be like that. It's never going to be like that ever, and I can't say ever because there are some people that will always be exceptions to the rule, whether they are, extremely blessed, extremely talented, maybe they have so much more free time and resources that you may not have access to. So, but for most, I would say, generalizing here, but the tendency is that you're never going to have a straight linear path really to anything, right? Because that's the same thing in life. It's very difficult to just have a straight path, especially on a growth trajectory. It doesn't really work out like that. So when I hear people refer to the gap, the unhappy middle, the swamp of drawing, what I really think that is them taking part in the learning process. So what I want to try to do here is I want to try to reframe, I maybe shift the perspective on what that actually is, at least the way I understand it. So what I have found, and this is going to be a hot take, because some people don't, what I'm about to say, some people believe that it is a definite thing that truly, definitely exists. And if that is the case, I can't tell you that it doesn't. I can only share with you my experience. I'm on this channel to be vulnerable and tell you about my experience to the best of my ability. So from what I understand, art block doesn't exist. The blocks that you might have and can perceive as art blocks, at least I'm going to speak for me, so I'm sorry I'm saying you a lot, but it's almost like having a discussion with someone, right? Art block doesn't really exist for me, and the reason is, if you ever notice something is blocking you, it's almost like something I can feel, like in the back of my head. I know, and it takes up a lot of space. The blocks that I experience in art, blocks, quote unquote, they're not really art blocks. It's not like there's something blocking my creativity. Well, I guess maybe that is the case. There is something, almost like a Jenga block, that you can pull out. It might be there's something weighing on your mind in your personal life, relationships, work life, something with your health. It could be that your room isn't clean. I try, and not even just for the video, I try to keep my room as clean as possible all the time regardless, so I don't have to worry about it when I come sit down here, because my workstation is in my bedroom. But when you're in when you're struggling with art block, it could be that you're actually struggling with something that you're not willing to give a name. So my biggest suggestion, if you struggle with art block, I don't personally believe that exists. I don't experience it. I'm kind of engineered myself where I can understand where blocks might come from and then eliminate them and seek them as soon as I go against it. It's like if I see myself coming up to a roadblock, I'm going to do everything I need to do so I can smoothly pass over it. So I was going for a little bit there. So if you are getting blocked in your day-to-day, if you're experiencing stagnation, and that's a really good, I was speaking with someone in our art community group about what it means when you feel stagnation in your practice. Now, I can let you know when I stagnate in mine. Typically when I stagnate, it's when I'm doing too much of the same thing and I'm not taking risks anymore. When you're not taking risks and you're wanting to sit in a place of comfort, it's really difficult to grow. And I think artists and creatives, and I truly believe this about humans in general, human beings, Homo sapiens, mankind, everything. I believe that we have something that is engineered for us to move towards growth in every aspect and facet of life. And I think when there's this balancing aspect of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone to grow and then retreating back into your comfort zone, because being out of it is vulnerable, it's scary, there's a lot of risk there. And if you know anything about people are really risk aversive. That is something that is tried and true. People do not enjoy taking risks. And especially when you're putting yourself out there in a vulnerable setting, taking risks is even scarier. People assign value to social media and the way that art engine works. So, when you're in this type of space, I really encourage risk taking. And when you see someone taking risks, uplift them and encourage them, because that is going to carry someone such a long way. But, in your individual practice, make sure that you're taking risks stepping out of your comfort zone, and don't retreat back into your comfort zone. I always use the word retreat. When you start retreating into your comfort zone, it's like you're pulling back, and that's when you begin to stagnate. There's almost the drive to get out of your, I can't believe my phone just went off during this video. The drive when you, that threw off everything. But we're not going to worry about it too much, right? You can only focus on what's right in front of you. So when you have the drive to step out of your comfort zone, there's a feedback loop that happens there. When you step out of your comfort zone, maybe the first result isn't amazing, but the things that you will take with you from stepping out of your comfort zone, you will keep. And if you don't believe me, keep at it, stay persistent, don't get discouraged. You will, as you continue to reach out of your comfort zone, you're going to pull things, you're going to take information with you, you're going to take your experience with you, and you're going to pull it all back into you. And when you do that, that is, I would say that's the secret, if it could be called that, the secret to making these consistent leaps and bounds in your art practice. I think what my friends, my peers, my colleagues may have been going at when they asked me about, the gap and what do I do when I come up against it, and is there a secret, was asking, how do I deal with the learning process? It's a constant feedback loop of reaching out of your comfort zone, knowing and accepting that the end product of reaching out of your comfort zone, it may not be, a masterpiece, but the information that you pull from it, you'll be able to apply. Application is really important, right? When you're practicing something, you have to apply it, and you can't pull your punches. You can't pull your punches when you're applying things. You just have to get after it and do the best that you can, and accept that, it may not go well, but that's the learning process. And something I'd really like to shift perspective on here is when you're in your learning process and you're experiencing that gap and the unhappy middle, the swamp, the deep dark star of infinity that comes with drawing. Be happy in those moments, even though it may be hard to get that, that serotonin boost or that dopamine boost from the validation that, you know, your peers might receive or the internet might, you know, give you. Be happy when you're in that gap, because that means you're actively in the learning process. It doesn't mean that things are escaping you and passing you by. That means you are pulling information into you that you will in turn be able to apply and practice yourself. So that would be my biggest takeaway. If there was a secret, and if there are any secrets, someone in the comment section, you know, please tell me if there is a secret, really, because I don't really think there is. But if you do think that there is a secret, you know, fill me in, let me know, and we'll keep it between us, right? But that's really what I wanted to leave everybody with here. That gap, the unhappy middle, all those things, it means that you're actively in that vortex where you're taking in new information, and that means you may have left your comfort zone, you know, or I would say that that's an indicator to you that you may be brushing up against a point of stagnation. That's like an alarm saying, okay, you know, it's time. We just did something incredible. We made a huge leap, and now in order to take another one, we've got to get out there. You know, we can't take a large leap from inside of our bubble. We've got to jump out and explode out, expand out, and all of that happens from outside of your comfort zone. So I will say, you know, if there's anything I can leave you with as you go on this video, as now you kind of see in the background, flipping the canvas, that is a really good habit. Just touching on the painting real quick. Flip your canvas, get a fresh perspective on it. You know, that's what I've tried to do here, try to leave everyone with a fresh perspective. But really relish in the process, that art process, that learning process. It's one and the same. When you're in that gap, you're in that unhappy middle, it's a sign. Leave your comfort zone. Don't place any expectations on you to make a masterpiece just because you do. Go in it with an open mind, be receptive to learning, feedback, and take things with you, and know that the things that you do take with you, they're going to nestle themselves in your subconscious. And then at the moment that you're going to need it most, when you're working on something new and you slip into the zone or you slip into a flow state, and the things that you have previously, you know, jumped out of your comfort zone to reach onto, you're going to be able to apply them. And it's my hope that you're going to be able to create something incredible that you really enjoy, and that, you know, ideally you'd feel comfortable sharing. That's one of the most incredible things, is being able to share the things that, you know, being able to share the progress and the adventure of what happens when you do leave your comfort zone, being able to share that with other people and encouraging them to do the same. So I believe I've been talking for a bit now. I'm not quite sure how long this video has been going. Hopefully it's not too long, but this is going to conclude the second Art Mirror episode. You know, from all that I've seen, the way that you approach your art practice is a lot of the way that you approach life, especially if art is something that you love and you constantly seek ways to grow, improve, share that with others, laugh, have fun, all of those things. This is what we come here to do. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions, if there's anything you'd like to hear me speak on, you know, I can get going on a topic for a little bit if I'm really passionate about what I do here. So yeah, I'm gonna zoom ahead a little bit forward so you can kind of see how the painting ended up. And it was so much fun to work on. We're really focusing on my brush strokes and brush economy there, but you know, that is a bit besides the point for this video. It's gone on 10 seconds too long, whatever, so I'm going to be calling it here. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and have a wonderful day. Signing off.